Welcome everybody to our Enterprise Architect Trerado series. It's great to have you join us today. My name's Scott Hebbard from Sparx Systems, and I'm joined today by Stephen Maguire, who's going to step us through. Today, we're going to look at Collaborator, so Trerado Collaborator. So welcome, Stephen. It's great to have you here today, and I was hoping that you could tell us a little bit about what we're looking at on screen and what is Trerado Collaborator and how you might be able to use it.
Thanks for the introduction, Scott, and always a pleasure to be here. Let's just take a little recap and look at this slide, the Trerado platform. So there is the core, which is like the server where lots of information is being dished out. Think about this a little bit like if you're a Microsoft user, this is sort of like Microsoft Exchange. So it's sitting behind your email, behind your calendar, behind your tasks and things. And think about collaborators being the sort of visualization where you're working with your email and things. So let's have a look again at as well the fact that there are two parts or two pillars to the platform here: Trerado Designer and Trerado Collaborator. So we're going to be looking at Collaborator today. If you looked at the previous video that we've done on the introduction, you'll see how the various tools are related. But let's have a look at the Trerado Collaborator. What you're looking at here, Scott, is a dashboard. So it's been created for a particular audience, and this is welcome to the ArchiSurance Home dashboard. The videos that we're going to be doing on the Trerado platform are going to use this fictitious organization, ArchiSurance. And in fact, right here on this dashboard is a description of that organization. So let me just view that, and you'll see here that this fictitious case study illustrates the realistic use of Archimate enterprise modeling language in the context of the TOGAF. So this is from the ArchiSurance case study version 2 document, and I can just move back on that. But that gives a description, Scott, and that introduces us to the fact that this dashboard is made up of a series of what we call widgets, and these are a little, portion of the dashboard that's focused on a particular message or a particular idea. So this one was the ArchiSurance was actually a text or a rich text widget, and you can put any text in those that you want. And you can see next to that, or just over to the side, we've got a couple of diagrams: merger history and challenges. We looked at that in an earlier video, and that's giving a nice visual description for someone who doesn't really understand the history of the ArchiSurance organization. So we can bring that up and have a look at that. And we looked at this in a previous video. So you can see this got all sorts of properties over there that are describing what this is all about. And so that's another example of a diagram, and that's a high level diagram. And then we have also over here another diagram, which is a stakeholder analysis workshop, which is done with a mind map. And these things are all coming, Scott, in the background. We're not going to talk about that today, but in the background, these are all coming from Trerado Designer. So we can look at this as well. And again, this is a representation of an stakeholder analysis. Maybe it was done in a series of workshops. But all of these elements, Scott, have got information underneath them, and you can see there that all of the particular stakeholders are described and what their interests are. So so
if you're talking to stakeholders and you wanted to update some of the documentation here based on stakeholder feedback, could you do that?
Oh, absolutely, Scott. Yeah, this is live, and you can update this information. And so that's a very good example. We have inside Trerado, both in the Designer and also in the Collaborator, we have the ability to do reviews. But I could also give a particular stakeholder the ability to look at aspects of the particular properties, and they could update those. So we could have done the workshop and then got them to give us some feedback on those. You notice up here as well, Scott, there's a discussion button there, so we can discuss both the diagram level and also at the element level, and that you know, that discussion is incredibly rich. It can be pushed back into the designer as well. And so that feedback can really create some momentum with the modeling and get answers quickly from the stakeholders and not take up much of their time. You just give them, send them a link and say, hey, can you were representing the banks, you were the surrogate stakeholder for the banks or for the customers, and can you go and just update this and make sure that we've got it all right.
So you could get someone that's just sitting on their laptop in their office to collaborate, discuss, and
absolutely, Scott. And they could be sitting, in this era of working away from the office, they could be sitting on a beach if they wanted to be, and be working on it. So it's that useful, Scott. Running in the browser, it makes it very simple for.
And I imagine it's very helpful for people that are also working from home or working remotely.
Exactly.
To be able to view and engage in some of the enterprise information that you're showing here.
Yeah, that's right, Scott. So here, the other thing, so we talked about these textual elements, the rich text. We talked about diagrams, and those diagrams, like I said, have been coming from Designer. And we've looked up here, we've got these cards, which are like a little succinct, a representation of some kind of information. So this one here, the second one in, percentage of supportive stakeholders for a particular course of action. So the organisation has done some, looked at their drivers, looked at their goals, done some assessments, and they've gone, we need to do this, have this course of action, agent to digital migration program. And this is looking at, we only have 57% of stakeholders who are supportive of that particular course of action. And so with that information in mind, someone viewing this can then create some models, some information, some documents, some presentations, some visualizations that will help get these other stakeholders across the line and bring that percentage much higher. And then they can focus on identifying those stakeholders and which stakeholders aren't supportive, and what the reasons for their opposition is. Disruptive potential, percentage of drivers that are disruptive. So, quite important. Stakeholders concerned with risk. There's only, 3 of the stakeholders at the moment that are concerned with risk. And, we've got all sorts of other things. Let's have a look. We've talked about cards. We've talked about reviews. We've talked about, this is actually a dashboard, and we could have, in fact, a dashboard of dashboards. So, it's a very, very rich expression. And then we can look at charts as well. So here we have a list of different charts here. So for this one, for example, stakeholder alignment, let's have a look at that one in a bit more detail. Across the top here, Scott, are all of these different actions that you can perform. So you can look at the chart settings, you can refresh that, you can share it and go into a view, maximize it, and you can also have a discussion on it as well. But let's click the view one, and let's have a look at how rich this information is. So let's have a look here on the side there. We've got a list of tagged values. So these are properties that have been set for a particular stakeholder. So what's their primary concern? And if you're running a project, understanding your stakeholders, understanding what their primary concerns are, what their role type, their scope, their secondary concerns are really important. So let's have a look at that. And now we've got this that's showing us the interest that they have, their primary interest, so compliance, cost, experience, growth, all sorts of things there. And I can just go into one of these things. So cost, who's interested in cost, or who's interested in growth, into risk? So let's have a look at the risk one, because that's interesting. And what we've got now, Scott, is we've drilled into this information, and we can see the stakeholders and the properties on them. So we've got a board, the chief information security officer, and the chief operations officer. And you can see over here that their primary concern is risk, and the role type is managerial, unspecified. So I can change those things. And over here, we've got the scope and the secondary concern. So you notice that some of these are unspecified. The information hasn't been updated in the repository, and that's it's a common thing to happen. So if we look at one of these as well, we can keep going down into, we can look at this and say, well, who are the ones that are interested in growth. And so again, we've get a list of those up, and we can see the primary concern is growth there, and their secondary concerns over here are innovation, cost, compliance, depending upon the particular one. So let's have a look now, and if we click on one of these ones, let's look at this Chief Claims Officer, very important stakeholder in an insurance company. And so we click on that, and now you can see we get more information. We've got the properties here, and we can go and look at discussions, usage, traceability, attributes, all sorts of other things.
So it's much more than just a pretty picture. You can drill down and get far more additional information.
Yeah, absolutely, Scott. And the thing about it is that you could see that when I was just looking at the pie chart, and we haven't talked about that, but there are a whole range of different types of charts, bubble charts, bar charts, integration maps, heat maps, landscape, a range of things. But when we're looking at that pie chart, it's just a simple view. But if you're the stakeholder and you want more information, so you think, I want to drill down on this and get a bit more of a picture, you can keep drilling down into more detail. But if you're a stakeholder that wants to stay up at that high level and go, hey, 37% of people, are interested in cost, then that's the important thing. But look over here now, Scott. I've got this information here, and I can see that this particular Chief Claims Officer, their primary concern is growth. So they're wanting to grow the business. Their role type is unspecified. The scope unspecified. Let's look at this secondary concern here, or this type, and I can say, look, they're what type of person are they? Let's call them a regulator at the moment, and I can save that. And what's the scope? They're an internal partner, so they're internal, so I can do that. So I'm updating that information live there. And let's just change one of them, Scott. Let's just say that this advertising outlet wasn't interested in growth so much, but was interested in cost. Let's have a look at that. Let's have a look at those cost percentages now in this thing. So cost is this one here, and I'll just move down so we can see that. Cost is the one. It's 37% at the moment. Let's just change this primary concern of this stakeholder, this advertising outlet, to be cost.
Yeah.
And I'll save that. And now I'll refresh that. I'll refresh that diagram, and you'll see that that cost is now. Well, I'll go to the primary concerns rather, and we'll look at that. 37% has now changed to 42%.
42, yeah.
So it's all live information, and we are looking at charts. So just to go take a step back, remember we talked about the fact that we can that a particular dashboard or a particular user can have dashboards, a particular group of users can have dashboards. So visualizations, narratives that are getting a story across, and those dashboards can have widgets, and we can have text widgets, images, diagrams, charts, cards, reviews, even other dashboards. And then within the notion of charts, we've got pie charts and donut charts and stacked columns and nested pie charts and landscape diagrams and all sorts of different representations. So I'm going to go back now and look at the main dashboard. And as I said, people can just use this as an information source and take out of it what they want. So if they want particular information, then they can view that and get a very quick picture of what's going on in the organization.
Excellent. There certainly seems to be a combination of cards and charts and diagrams and 2D charts and bar charts all on the one page. So you can certainly present a lot of information about the enterprise in a variety of formats. So it looks like it's a pretty amazing collaboration and communication tool for getting information out that might be hidden in a traditional report, for example.
Yeah, Scott, and you hit the nail on the head there with communication and collaboration. So the Trerado Collaborator, and also for that matter Trerado Designer, have been built from the ground up as communication and collaboration platform. So you can see, right there on the jump, we've got this discussion. We've got that available on all of the widgets. We've got it available on all of the elements. So you can get this, rich interaction of people. They're working from home, working in remote locations, working for different organizations. it is possible to be able to share, collaborate, and communicate the information about your organization, and that's going to contribute to its success and be able to steer the organization in the right direction and deal with all the kind of things that are affecting our world at the moment, the time pressures, the resource pressures, so it's going to be a very useful, very useful platform for people to communicate and collaborate.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Stephen, for showing us the Trerado Collaborator and some of the features and some of the capabilities that are available. I understand we've only just scratched the surface for what we can do within Collaborator, but it's been fantastic to see the Archie assurance model presented in such a easy to read and easy to consume way. If people want a hand getting some training or getting some more information about Trerado, the platform, or Trerado Collaborator, can they reach out to you to find out some more information?
Absolutely, Scott. Be delighted to talk to people. And remember, we've got partners and service companies right across the globe, Scott, that can work in the region where our customers are. So, and those people are all highly trained, highly experienced people that will be able to get an organization up and running in the platform very quickly and very painlessly.
Excellent. So visit sparxsystems.com for more information on Trerado, and you can book in a demo today. Once again, thanks for all your help, Stephen. It's been great to see it today, and look forward to more videos where we get to showcase Enterprise Architect Trerado and all the wonderful features that are now available to our customers.
Always a pleasure, Scott.